Focaccia d'Altamura con puree di cannellini e basilico. Who doesn't love the smell of baking bread in the house? Well, focaccia is one of those breads that you can make. It's simple, it's straightforward, and it's one of my favorites. So in order to make any bread, you need it to rise. And we're gonna prove some yeast. This is some dry yeast. Let's just put a little bit of sugar in there. And the sugar is the food for the yeast, actually, so it rises. And some warm water. And let's give it a good mix. So we let that rise. And we're gonna top our focaccia with some tomatoes and onions. The little cherry tomatoes, ripe ones are better. If they're big, you cut them in half. If they're small, you can even leave them whole. Some onions, that always adds a delicious taste. Some olive oil, salt, we'll let this marinate. Now, of course, this is simple and sweet and delicious, but you could put some oregano in there or whatever you'd like, some pepperoncino if you like yours, but I love it this way. So here, let's make the dough. We have the flour, put some salt, and let's begin. So whenever you're making a dough, you have, of course, the flour and the wet ingredients, and you do a little bit, the wet a little bit at the time, and you let it incorporate. Okay, just let it gather all together. I think it's just about ready because I'm gonna finish it a little bit with hand kneading. I like to get my hands in the dough. I'm going to finish it off with a little bit of flour, just kind of knead it. Okay, not too much flour because we want a nice soft dough. Okay. I love the sound of dough. I remember my grandmother always used to smack her dough. So this has to rise. So let's do just a little bit of oil in a bowl. And make sure that the bowl is room temperature and just coat it lightly with olive oil. This way, as the dough rises, it doesn't encounter the friction of the glass. It kind of glides up. It's already beginning to rise. So just like that. And you cover it with some plastic wrap so the heat stays in there. And it will double in size if you get the right rise. And it'll take about an hour to get there. Altamura is known for some of the best bread in all of Italy. And of course, it is about the semolina flour and the grain that grows there, but it is about this artisanry of family traditions of baking the bread and making the bread, kneading it, shaping it, a wood-fired oven, and, the timing of moving around this bread, because it is some of the best bread and some of the best focaccia in all of Italy. The focaccia had its first rising. Let me just oil a little bit the sheet pan where we're gonna bake it. And not too much oil, but of course we need to oil the whole base so it doesn't stick, and a little bit up the sides. That's ready. So let's go to the dough. Has risen nicely. Let's punch it down. And you start from the sides and you kind of punch it down, just like that. Put it right in the pan here. And you see how soft it gets. And this is the way you want the focaccia, because the focaccia is gonna get light and crispy this way. And you want it to cover the whole pan. I want it to be more or less the same thickness all around. And now we put the tomatoes and the onions over it. Spread it out evenly. Now you let it be in a nice regular room temperature is fine. 20 minutes to half an hour. It has to rise again, and then we'll bake it. One of the most fascinating elements of the bread from Altamura and the focaccia is the crispiness, the texture of this bread. The crust is kind of crackles like glass. And the focaccia is kind of oozing and dripping with great taste. The focaccia has risen again, and it's beautiful, ready for the oven. Coarse salt. I like a little coarse salt on my focaccia. And of course, you can do as you like, but a little bit of coarse salt is due in my house. And this is ready to go into the oven, a hot oven, 425 degrees. And for about 15, 20 minutes, it'll begin to get nice and golden. Shift it around so it gets golden on all sides for another 15, 20 minutes, and it's done. The heel of Italy is known for its great olive groves and for its wine groves evermore. The wine, the traditional varietals are the Moscato, the Nero di Troia, and the Bombino, full of body taste. They're producing some great wines. The focaccia is done. We let it rest for about 10, 15 minutes. As you can see, it shrinks a little bit as it cooks, but it looks great. I like a little bit of dry oregano over it just when it's finished. So, you know, I love this bouquets of oregano, and all you do is the bouquet just kind of a little bit like that, and you save the rest. Collect everything, and while the focaccia is still warm, it will absorb some of the flavors of this oregano. Now I want to make a spread, a puree, which is really wonderful, and it's a bean puree with basil, and lots of basil. So almost like making a pesto first and then bean puree. To keep the bright color of the basil, I'm gonna blanch the basil. Put it in boiling water just for a moment. Okay. And we'll begin to make the pesto. Lots of parsley as well, pine nuts, and a garlic clove. If you like it more garlicky, put 2. Pine nuts give it that kind of delicious creaminess. That's good. So the basil, I think we can pull right out. It's nice and green. And sort of shock it right in iced water. Just let it cool. And we want to wring it. We don't want any of the water because the puree, you want sort of nice and creamy. You don't want it watery. I'm putting it in a clean towel here because I'm going to wring it nice and dry. Delicious smell. So let's wring it. Okay. And let's put some salt to season this and some peperoncino. And again, let's sort of get this nice and chopped fine, because once you have the beans in there, then you don't have an opportunity to chop it as fine. So make sure that you get your pesto going first. A little bit of olive oil. Okay. Scrape everything down here. So beans. These are cannellini beans, nice and dry, cooked. But you know what? You can do this also with canned beans. Just make sure that you wash them and drain them well. I'm looking at it, looks good. A little bit maybe more oil. And, you know, a little bit more salt. So, all I think it needs is a little bit of cheese. Cheese, the grated cheese. And if you like it a little bit more zestier and spicier, you can put the pecorino. Okay. Collect it all. This is delizioso. So let's get the focaccia going, and voila. So this is the focaccia. Let me cut it in half first. This piece I'm gonna cut like this, so everybody gets a little bit of tomatoes. You know what? Maybe I'll cut it in all different sizes. That's a long one. This is more of a squarish, so we certainly have a nice serving here. You put a little bit of basil just to reinforce the basil element there. And I like the crust, so I'm going to spread some of the... Is this delicious or what? I can just eat it like that, or I could put a nice prosciutto cotto on top of it just like that. And this is an open sandwich, delicious for lunch with a little salad for your friends. Now, let's taste. Che delizia! Delizioso! You always ask me, how long will wine stay good for in the fridge? Well, I would say up to about a week. Just make sure that you seal it off with a cork. Doesn't happen in my house, though. Come along, let's gather all together in the kitchen and let's talk. Tutti in cucina a cucinare! Whether it's a story or a technique, it's a place of sharing, experimenting, and practicing the craft of nourishing loved ones. Let's talk entertaining. Andy, some tips on setting up a party at home.
I would say, obviously, you want to be able to have people have finger food. They're standing up. We have a small house, so we're not going to sit down and have, a dinner, seated. So great ingredients, cured meats, good salumi, cheeses that are displayed right with the wine that's right there.
And I think also some things that you can do ahead, like a seafood salad or a bean salad, something that you can prepare ahead and put it out. And that you can do even a day before.
It's better.
Yes.
Yes.
But I think risotto is one of the best dishes you can cook for a party because you need one pot. If you put the right broth, the right flame, you can cook it and relax with friends.
I think the best thing you can do when you have people in your house is create an interactive environment where there is some element of surprise, some new product, some story you can tell about something that's really interesting or different. And that's the best when you can do that. When they come away from your house having eaten and enjoyed great food and wine and also learned something, that's the best experience your friends can have at your house.
I think when you're making like a beautiful display of food, it's important to use the things that you have and use like height variations is very helpful, especially when you have to get a lot of stuff in a small space.
Simple, but it really makes it elegant. A ogni uccello il suo nicho bello. Every bird has its own beautiful nest.